Matt Gannoners. We return for the fifth Boots event of the year.
The year? You might be
Two in
right.
Hawaii, two Boots West, and now Boots Florida kicks off 4 straight weeks
Yeah.
of Boots, the fifth of the year.
That's crazy.
They're stacking up because it literally does feel like just yesterday that the opening Boots report of the year took place at Kapalua. And we talked about the time. Kapalua, we weren't happy with the Boots at Kapalua. We weren't disappointed with the Boots at Kapalua, but we said we a little off the mark first term of the year. And then we talked about, we said, what are the more bootsable courses? Kapalua is such a birdie fest, not necessarily the best bootsable event. And since then, Waialae, Torrey, Waste, all great Boots events. So I'm super excited. For Boots Florida specifically, 4 weeks in a row down there. How are you feeling going to another week of Boots?
I mean, like, to shout out Tim Robinson, I'm like the tiredest I've been in my entire life. We're like 15% through Boots Florida, and I don't know what about today, but it kicked me. But I think all the effort went out in that Boots report that's up on the site. But we have dog. We will bounce back tonight. It's probably because the TGL. I had a lot of it's been a long 24 hours. Been like nonstop around the clock, bootsing. But that's what we do it for. That's what we do it for. One more day, and then we can relax on Thursday. So I'm ready to get going with this, and ready to get going with the Boots.
You did send in a generational Boots report today. I will say it would make sense you were tired because the amount of ground that you must have covered, the amount of golf you must have seen, the amount of the internal AI processing what you're seeing in your database of having seen these players played before, like that'll wear you out. That'll tire you out. But what I was also thinking when I was mentioning the string of Boots so far this year and the courses that we're going to and things like that is these courses, the Florida swing courses, to me seem like, I mean, we did it last year, obviously, with Sawgrass. We had a great time there. We saw the success there. Just the style, the importance of ball striking, hitting the green, those types of things that stand out, as we've talked about before, more in a practice round, maybe than the putting will, and then the short game does as well. Based on your first day at PGA National, is that the vibe you're getting as well from the ability to kind of judge these events?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it on pods before, like what's a bootsable course. PGA National is an easily bootsable course, and as the Florida swing is, like you were saying, outside of Bay Hill, it is a tough course just to walk, but you're going to get a lot of insight there. But yeah, I will say I got a lot of great insight, bootsable experience today, and I saw some great ball striking. I saw some poor ball striking, and I thought it was really telling on what's going to happen in the next few days of golf.
Yeah, and we'll spend about 45 minutes here talking through what you saw out there today, the players and things like that. As always, the full Boots report and all the other Vinceris content, which this week, obviously, we got the DP World Tour. Obviously, we've got the PGA models, data. Vincent is up there. Pix will be up there. DFS will be up there. All of that stuff will be there. Yeah, LPGA. It's the Asian swing, extended wrist. He's on it. For us, that's $9.99 for the weekly, $34.99 for the monthly. And as we always say with the Boots report, it is one data point. There's 1,000 other data points out there. If you put all your eggs in the Boots basket, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's not the approach that we recommend. But it's just another thing to add to the process. And so I love these weeks. I love it, as I've said all year, having not gone. I cannot wait until I'm back with you out there doing Boots. I miss it so much, reading the Boots report. I'm like, damn, I wish I was there.
Yeah,
I'm a consumer of it so far this year, and it was great reading through it today to see what you had to say about how the course is playing and who's striping, who's not striping, and just some funny stories as well. I think that's the best part. It's like, it's the serious, not that serious. We try to really commit ourselves to that. So we hope people get, even if you don't benefit any money from bets you place on the week, did you have a good time? I think you get your money's worth purely.
It's a true like story arc from the days Boots started. Like everything like really comes full circle as the Boots reports come about. And if you've been a follower since day one, you'll definitely be able to know what we're talking about and see some funny things in there for sure.
And some of it may not make sense, honestly, if you're a first-time reader. We translate as much as we can, but we do keep some of the running jokes in there. But I feel like a lot of people who sign up for the site come over as people who have listened to the podcast, and they kind of get it already, and it works out that way. But if you're ever just super confused, you're like, guys, I don't know what you're saying, then don't hesitate to flag us.
Yeah.
But we, as I tweeted this out today, and this is the overarching thing, We just appreciate everybody who supports this, whether you're listening to the podcast. And if you are just listening to the podcast, watching on YouTube, we appreciate that like or the subscribe. We understand not everybody wants to go to that extra level of detail. Maybe it's, bets that much or wants to spend money on a subscription or things like that. We get that exists as well. And we just appreciate all of you, no matter which kind of form you take. But if you are listening on the podcast or listening on YouTube, we would appreciate that like and subscribe. But that's enough of that. I love to shout out the subs, the people who support the program. I love that. I'm not as big on hyping up our own product, but what I love to talk about is what you saw out there on the course today. Jers, we started the last 2 times by saying who was number 1 in the Boots report. Who did you think jumped out? I'm going to start somewhere different this week. I want you to talk about course conditions. You were there last year. You've seen this course previously, so you have a little bit of that going on where you can compare versus what you've seen before. Pure course conditions, style of players, what jumped out to you?
Yeah, definitely. Like hometown event, I've seen this course a ton of times, so I've seen it change subtly over the years. But first got out there, the first thing I really noticed was the rough conditions because as PGA National is as a whole, it's usually a pretty brutal course. You got to hit the fairways. You're playing out of the rough. You might struggle going into greens with water hazards. I did notice this year that the rough is down in some spots, and I wasn't really too sure what the condition. I don't like to read the course reports going into the week. I like to just see what I see. But I noticed that it was down this year and down to the point where guys were really hitting longer irons and middle irons fairly easier into the rough. I still don't think you want to be playing out of the rough.
You mean into the greens? Like guys were hitting middle to long irons and still being able to hold the greens?
Sorry, yes. Yeah. So guys were being able to hit greens from the rough with not ease. It wasn't like a Detroit where you could just hit the ball anywhere, but this is probably the easiest I've seen the rough. Now, it is only Tuesday. We might have a little rain tomorrow. There was a little rain today, so it probably will get up a little bit. But from years past, this is the quietest I've seen the rough on a Tuesday afternoon going into the event.
How would you compare it to the rough at Wiley, Sony?
Okay, I thought you were going to say Torrey.
I was going to say Torrey, but I think we know the answer to that one. What's the more Wiley?
It's just a different kind of grass. This overseed with the Bermuda around the golf course has changed it. It's a lot fluffier and softer. Whereas the Wiley rough, it's sat up a little bit more. You get sometimes got better lies in the Wiley rough. So I do think it's easier rough truly. And I know Wiley is not a tough rough to play from. You can kind of make your way around there too. Honestly, somewhat comparable, I would say, not too far different. I do think the crossovers will remain true, like a really hard crossover.
Yeah, I wrote up in the course preview that the last, 6-7 years of winners at PGA National have played well at Sony that year. As somebody who's gone to both of those events, you're saying you get why a guy who 100%. Played well at Wiley is going to show up this week and potentially play well.
Yeah, it's just like it visually doesn't really look the same, but you got to hit your spots off the tee, and the fairways kind of feel the same. The fairways feel a lot different here than they do last year. They're much easier to hit off of and more bouncy and like receptive to hit the club through than they have been in the past.
Yeah, you are a historical diver into how the club interacts with the turf. As we know that famously, you weren't involved at that time, but Colin was the one who introduced the concept of how your club interacts with the turf when he won the Open. You did it most famously, I think, at Valhalla. You were down there getting into the feeling of the grass. How does it compare to easing of, because then you were like, this grass just looks so easy to hit off. It was like a driving range map, basically, at Valhalla. How does it compare to that?
Yeah. Honestly, like close to it. And I remember Xander talking about that so much in his interviews, like how easy it was to hit off of that grass. I don't think it's quite like that where the ball, like that was Georgia. Those are Georgia fairways, I believe, right? So those always just sit up like crazy and easily to hit through. With this overseed, I don't, it's not quite there, but it's very similar. Like it's comparable. And I do think it's going to make it easier. Like, it's weird because I think the better ball strikers will just flush even harder, and the guys who aren't the better ball strikers will like even hit the ball a little bit better than they normally do. So I just think it's going to make hitting the ball from the fairway just overall easier for everyone.
Yeah, and the overseed was something that you mentioned came up. Obviously, you saw it with your own eyes, but friend of the program, our boy, BSB Novak, he called it out too specifically. BSB Novak, a popular player this week, a guy who has played well. I don't know where he finished last year, but I remember him kind of being in the mix. It makes sense for him. What did
This
he
dude
mention
mixes
about
everywhere nowadays.
yeah, any course is a BSB Novak course, but he mentioned the overseed, and you saw it showing up more around the greens as well.
Right. Yeah, he mentioned that it was going to play a lot different. And he didn't say like easier or harder, but what he meant was like around the greens, there was a lot more fluffy lies. There's a lot more places to catch your ball if it's running off. In the past, around PGA National, if it wasn't in the fluffy rough, it was in some shade Bermuda, which was obviously always really dicey to chip off of, especially your first week of the Florida swing. You're not a Bermuda guy. You're gonna stab some chips. You're gonna have the ball rolling back to your feet. It's just part of the way it is. Now there's less of that than I've ever seen around PGA National. There's a lot of fairway cut, is what I was calling it, around the greens versus shave Bermuda, which multiple players mention as like some guys like how having it shaved because it makes your short game shine even more, and it's just going to benefit the worst chippers for sure. So I would say decrease ARG a little bit in your models this week.
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. Those kind of like lies you feel like you're going to knife it off of don't exist as much out there this week. Semi-related, not have anything to do with this week's tournament. On the chipping front, obviously Aldi Potts chipped terribly at the Mexico Open. We didn't have boots there. We've never been there. Why were guys chipping so bad at the Mexico Open? Like some of those chips looked so straightforward on TV, but guys were running them way past, not even coming close. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but that popped in my brain because watching the Cub, I was like,
it wasn't just Potts too. The guys were knifing it like all week. Yeah, I don't know. We should now. We have so many reasons to boost Mexico. We have so many reasons to boost Mexico now.
Yeah, like we need to get down there. We need Vidanta World. We need the Grupo Salinas reaching out to us to get this set up. We will come for sure. We will be there. But yeah, tomorrow.
Over under on pounds gained if we went to Boots Mexico.
I think we'd end up probably netting out pretty even because I feel like I lose weight on a Boots week because you're walking around so much and doing stuff. It'd be close though. It would be close. It would definitely be close. But tomorrow when you're out there, when you're talking to the guys, bring up to somebody who played in Mexico and be like, what was it like around the greens there? It looked tricky. Like, what's going on? So somebody friend of the program, see if you can get that.
I will do that.
All right. So that's course conditions. Like we said, we've started off by talking about who is number one in the Boots rankings because basically how the Boot Reports works too, for somebody who's never been over to the site, the top course conditions, how the course is playing, there's always a few quotes in there from players and caddies and guys that you have talked to about how the course is playing. So that's a start. Then player report. This is just shit that you see on as many players as you can possibly see during the day. And then you do your power rankings for the day, just based on your eye test, who looked best to you. I was just looking as I pasted in what you posted today into the Boots report that your Tuesday report from Tori was sparkling in the top 5 there, both Ludwig and Mav McNeely, who went on to finish miles ahead of the field. You got 5 there today. Pick, let's not pick number 1, but pick someone else on the list, one of the top 5 from this week from today, who jumped out to you and what you saw from them.
All right, I'll go with Mr. Unserious himself, Denny McCarthy. He looked really, really good today, and I do not want to give Denny a great report. I'm not a Denny truther. But for what the golf course asked, for what Denny McCarthy brings to the table, it makes sense on paper. And then confirming with my eyes what Denny was doing with his team, how they were preparing. I think Denny could be in for a good week. I've been strong on Denny in the past at PGA National, and clearly that's never really worked out. He never won here, never played too well.
He's never won. He's never won anywhere. So.
Right, never won anywhere.
You don't have to hold that against him.
Never won anywhere.
Specifically.
But yeah, Denny cracked the top 5. I think I saw roughly 60 guys today, at 60 out of almost half the field. So Denny was in the top 5 of what I saw today. So we'll see how that stacks up tomorrow.
Yeah, his history here is weird. He has a T3 back in 2021, and then he has 5 missed cuts in 7 starts. But we see that at PGA National. I think I wrote up also in the course preview, like you want a guy who's played well here at least once, if you can. Yeah, especially at least once before. Like everybody's at least had starts here, but it's not a place where the guy who wins often, had like 4 top 10 finishes and then he breaks through like you would see it like Torrey Pines or something like that. It's much more of a flash in the pan due to the danger that lurks. And I guess that'd be a question too. You're saying the rough's not as penal, maybe as you've seen before here. It doesn't seem like it's you don't want to be in it. You never want to be in the rough, but it's not going to ruin your tournament to get in it. You can hit the green if you're dialed in with your irons. But there is big trouble that lurks around from a penalty perspective. I saw you posting about multiple internal OBs. What's going on there?
Right. Yeah, I missed a note that was going to be the case this year. I don't know if anyone knew going into the week. Could be in one of the reports, but yeah, going into today, I did not see that. There was internal OB. I believe it was hole 4. It was right of 4. No, left of 4, left of 18, and right of 10, I believe. So
That
3
right.
internal OBs that have. There could be more. I could have missed one more, but I've never seen those signs before at PGA National, and that just makes a visual intimidating driving golf course, a few driving holes that much more intimidating. So I think that's just gonna make it play more like the PGA National that like we're used to seeing. Guys are gonna like maybe take less than driver off the tee because they don't want to avoid those spots. But they're very interesting to see, honestly, those internal OBs.
Yeah, and that is interesting because you've got less rough, which theoretically would make it less penal off the tee. You'd see more aggressiveness, but in certain spots, they are going to have to be a little bit more careful because of the fact that they've added these internal OBs. Great to see you bringing forward the internal OB report as well. We famously brought that into existence at Royal Liverpool a couple years ago. So we always have our eyes at boot peeled for internal OB.
Are you in or out on internal OB? Because it's a strong topic.
In. 1,000%.
Hunter, I'm with you.
Why there was not internal OB down the 18th at Mexico last week legitimately makes no sense. What are we doing? You can't just cheat. Like, just make an internal OB. I don't like. You sometimes in rare circumstances, sure, I get it. As a player, if I was playing, would be the worst thing I could ever possibly imagine. But as a fan, something that's the worst for the player is the best for me. So I'm down.
If there was internal OB at Monarch Bay, is that where we played in San Francisco? We would have not done well. Not at all.
No, I would have never gotten off the tee. I would have had it like wedge down every single hole.
Yeah. We didn't fucked.
All right, so Denny's looking good. Which is interesting because, like you said, he hasn't played here before, or he hasn't played well here before. One time he did, so 5 out of 7 missed cuts. The type of guy who reminds me of remember Harris English at the Players last year? Terrible course history, and then he was striping.
That was a crazy Vic.
That was. All right, give me the Bermuda guy. We've talked about the Bermuda guys. I know you did you stop by the grocery store today?
I did. No, I did. Yeah.
And so you were able to check in with folks on who the Bermuda guys are in real time, and then you went to the course. Who of the Bermuda guys, they've been talking about them at the grocery store, everybody knows it, but which of those guys then looked the most like a Bermuda guy out there today?
I thought Brian Harman looked like himself for the first time in a long time. He's got the ability and the history to win and play well on other courses that aren't Bermuda.
And other courses with internal OB because he won at Royal Liverpool.
Shit, dude. Oh, strokes gained internal OB. Brian Harman. Yeah, Brian Harman. The golf course makes a ton of sense for him. And I saw him looking as confident and as happy as I've seen him in the Boots story arc this year. So Brian Harman was striping fairways, striping greens, looked confident with his group. He was playing with his Bulldogs, so he was obviously in good spirits. And one of the Bermuda guys that definitely checked a few boxes for me.
What do you think, unrelated to Boots? Just I'm looking at Brian Harman's profile right now. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 top 25s in his last 10 starts, but he also has no top 10s. Like, what's going on with Harman? What's the deal here?
You know who else is like that? Off topic too, Sam Burns. He's been minting top 20 to 50th finishes. What's going on with Brian Harman? I don't know. I think he just posted his best approach week since the BMW, I believe.
That's right.
Which was in the summer, which is a great sign for him. And like when he won at Troon, he was probably he was in better form, but it wasn't like otherworldly just minting +7 ball striking weeks in a row. It was just like decent, steady golf. And I wouldn't say he's there yet, but this is as good as we've seen him coming into a tournament in a little bit of time. So at the number, like if he was in good form, he would be 28-30 to 1 here. I'm not saying he's that guy right now, but I'm saying for the number that he is, for the what you get from Brian Harman, I think it could work.
Harman
I got
is
60 on DK.
70, 65 on FanDuel, 70 out there at Bet
Yeah.
Online. So yeah, I mean, where is he in the dog rankings? Because Harman, I struggled to know how to feel about Harman because before he won the Open, he was
Yeah.
like as low of a dog player that you could
Right.
ever possibly imagine. But then him winning the Open was one of the most dog things that I think I've ever seen. Like people were talking
Right.
shit to him, and he like stared him down and won. So he comes into the week third in the dog rankings
In the field?
in the field. Do you think that's too high?
No. I mean, why would we argue with the numbers? Like, the numbers have been doing as well all year.
Yeah. So I'm just
Wow.
saying, interesting. If you're saying, I mean,
Go
70
with
to
the
1,
number.
70 to 1, third in the dog rankings. You like what you're seeing with the eye test. That's compelling information on Brian Harman. Let me just toss out some Bermuda guys. You tell me what you saw from these Bermuda guys specifically. One of them was not even on the course. It was off the course. Everybody knows he's such a big Bermuda guy that he was the face of the interviews today, is what it sounds like. Ben Griffin, what did you see from Ben Griffin?
Yeah. I saw this is hilarious because before I got there, I saw Ben Griffin either playing or doing some commercial shoot with like Chris Powers. I think it was from today too. He posted on his Instagram
Yeah, he
story.
did.
So Ben Griffin's in the media doing the things because everyone knows he is the Bermuda guy. He's number one Bermuda guy. So I only saw him doing media related things. I will say this was like as high energy and as upbeat as I've seen Ben Griffin. So because he knows that it's a Bermuda week and he's been playing good golf. So I think by that he should feel confident in for a good week, and he's proven to make birdies here before. But I did not see Ben Griffin taking any golf swings outside of Chris Powers' Instagram story. But Ben Griffin, he's a Bermuda guy. Everyone knows it, so he should be in for a good week.
Yeah, I would say we've debated on this show before if certain guys, if they're in the interview room too much, if they're overpopular for the week from that perspective. We've talked about it with Mav, I think, at early in the season, and then it started to die off for Mav at Torrey, and he almost won. Right. BG, because he's a Bermuda guy, I don't think he needs to be practicing this week. So, in that sense, I'm cool if he's getting all the media attention. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about a popular BG. I don't know if that's going to lead to popularity. Like I said, I mean, I haven't looked at any chart ownership or popularity yet. I'm waiting until tonight and tomorrow to dive in there. But I do think he will be popular. Like, I mean, flow chart, it makes so much sense. But even when he does make sense, like it's the Ben Griffin flow chart. You don't stray off of that because I will promise you Thursday morning, he will be 3 under through 6 and T1. Like, but that doesn't mean he's going to win, but he's going to play well and start nice. So that's Ben Griffin on Bermuda for sure.
45 to 1. I know we've talked about this a million times. You still are going to be applying the chart. If a guy's on the chart, even if he's striping, even if he's generationally practice round performance, that doesn't overpower the chart. So I'm not going to mention if Griffin is or is not trending in that direction, but he's 45 to 1. Is that a price that you think is fair?
Yeah, I thought he would be 35 to 1 going into the week. So yeah, I think that's fair.
That's right. You tweeted it. We talked about it on the pod. All right. Next Bermuda guy, Chris Kirk, the most famous of all the Bermuda guys and former winner of this event.
I mean, Chris Kirk's played well in this event without being in form. He's played well in this event with being in form. It's Chris Kirk on a positional Bermuda course. You don't have to ask questions. He's not playing his best golf. He's kind of struggling across the board, but this is his comfortability. This is where he does things well, and he looked the part today. Chris Kirk. Okay.
No, well, give me the Chris Kirk.
Okay, so Chris Kirk was playing with his dogs. He was playing with Harman. He was playing with Grayson Sigg, and he was playing with Jen Flusher, Ben Coles. And he wasn't really in the group. Like, he wasn't in the conversations. He was lagging back, trying to stay in his own world while minting fairways and greens. So I think he's just trying to get back in his zone, get back under, feel all the Bermuda, feel the Florida sun hit him, and then, like, that could lead to good things for Chris Kirk. Like, We bet him in form at 35-1, and he won. He's like double the number now, not in great form. So I think it's fair.
Yeah. I mean, the man wins golf tournaments. Dog, Chris Kirk. He has it. Like, but that ties in perfectly what I was going to ask, because we were talking about it, obviously, when you were out at Torrey. You said this weather is miserable. I can't believe that it's so cold. The POA doesn't even feel right to walk on. Like, it's just wrong to me. And we talked about how that must stand out to the Bermuda guys there. It all makes sense. Are you noticing the Bermuda guys back on Bermuda? Is there an extra joy to their step? Is there an extra joy in your step? Like, how is that showing up out there?
Yeah, I definitely noticing a better vibe from not even just the Bermuda guys, from everyone. Jackson Suber came up to me and goes, "Could you believe this weather?" Like, he was vibing. I don't really know the history of Jackson Suber, like where he comes from. Oh, really? And I forgot about that. And I know he went to Ole Miss. He went to Ole Miss. So yeah, maybe he's a Bermuda guy, and maybe that's why he said it to me, because he was like, "This weather is unbelievable. How you doing?" I'm like, "Subs, I never crossed paths with him in my life." But yeah, so that was just one example. But I would say in general, the vibes are high in the Bermuda camp.
Yeah, I mean, Suber's interesting. I bet him last week. He missed the cut. That's fine. He was like 100 plus 150-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
He in 2022, because I always like to look at these young guys and look back, like, what did they do in college? What were they up to? Not that always translate, as we know famously from the Stanford golf rankings of the best Stanford golfers ever. This dude won all the time in college. He won the LSU Invitational. He won the NCAA Norman Regional. Things in the South. He played good on the Korn Ferry. So him saying that, plus you said he went to Ole Miss, is where he went to college. He was T6 at Wiley. What are Suber's odds? Can he win?
I don't know. I gave Suber's like a pretty solid report. Like, I think his upside is so much.
225-1.
Oh man, I was kind of I was thinking I was gonna be out, but I didn't know he was gonna be that long, especially with the Wiley comp. Like, the dude has shots. I think he's volatile, and I could see him like being T10 or miscut this week. But 225-1, you're getting that upside. I literally wrote today his upside is win. His upside is high, but he wasn't like the sharpest I've seen ever. But he was like, he hit some elite shots that like everyone doesn't have. He's a stud. He's gonna be a stud. I mean,
like, within his first 4 starts on the PGA Tour, he had a round where he gained 7 strokes on the field in the first round at the Amex, and he gained 6.3 on the field in the second round at Torrey. Those are 2 drastically different courses. He shot 69 on the South course in tough conditions. Hasn't played great since that T6 at Sony, but like, the dude has game, it sounds like.
He gaining 7 strokes at the Stadium course and losing 8 at La Quinta is one of the most absurd back-to-backs I've ever seen from Jackson Supers. Like, Stadium course played like hard, and then La Quinta
melted under the pressure on the second day.
Oh wait, I think didn't he make that who's the one that made like the 8 or the 10?
No, that was Willie Mao. Who also
William Mao.
Yeah.
Yes.
He won John Deere fresh out of college. Willie Mao.
Right. Yes. William Mao.
And in the final round of Sony, he's good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I always think it's impressive.
Wow. He finished T9 at the die course in the KFT.
Yeah. So Jackson Suber, keep your eyes on him. Long shot of the week, 225-1. He'll probably miss the cut, but I'm optimistic about the upside in his game, which at 225-1, that's kind of what we're looking for. That is what we're after. I'm going. I know you're sticking with your 7, kind of sticking right on the 7X. Obviously, you've got the lead in the outright competition right now over on the site. I've been kind of starting to drift towards more 9, 10, 11X cards. I just feel like I'm better down the board. Obviously, you're less likely to get the guy into the mix on a consistent basis. Hasn't worked out for me yet, but I'm starting to lean that way. So guys who are like 225-1, like Suber, it's kind of like, why not? You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, you sold me on him a little bit last week because I didn't like. He's one of the guys I didn't know much about. So I wanted to like see more of him, and I'm happy I did today. So I think I could definitely give him a run this week.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 top 10, 5 top 10 finishes on the KFT last year for Suber. We'll see where we end up on him. Sometimes I get hyped about a guy on the pod, and then when I sit down and reflect on it, then I'm out. But then sometimes that guy almost wins, and it's infuriating. So it's always tough to tell which way to end up when you talk about a guy on the pod. Top of the board, Jers. We were debating on the Sunday night podcast. There was about a 4-way split at the top for the favorite between Russ, Shane Lowry, your boy Sung Jae Im, and Sepp Straka, also your boy after hitting him at the Amex. There's been some change there. Lowry is 20 to 1 ish. Russ, you can get a 25 on. Sung Jae, you can get a 28 on Bet Online. Sepp, you can get a 28. We kind of said we didn't think that they maybe deserved to be the favorite of the tournament. They've all drifted slightly. Anything you're seeing out there? Any thoughts on the top of the board?
Yeah, I did see two of them out there, like half of them. I saw Sepp and Russ. I saw different things from them both. One very, very good and one very, very bad. Should I say who was who, or should I like leave that up in the air for people?
Who looked good? Who looked good? Let's keep it positive. Who looked good?
Yeah. Russ looked really solid. Russ was he's done nothing but stripe when I've seen him this year, and that's led to positive results. Played really well at the Sony, played all right at Torrey Pines. So yeah, Russ is a guy who makes sense at this golf course. Obviously, he's won here before. He's really comfortable on these surfaces, and he looked the part today. On the other hand, Sepp Straka, I started to notice it a little bit after the recent boots. He hasn't been looking as great, and the results haven't been as great. But he did not look good today, and I wrote maybe heater over. TBD on that, but Sepp did not pass the eye test today.
Two former winners, Russ Henley and Sepp Straka, both this season playing great, obviously. Sepp not so great at Torrey. I was on him, obviously, there. That's probably why it didn't go right for him. So if I'm not on him this week, he might bounce back into form. But Russ is looking good. I don't know how to feel about Russ. 25 to 1, like, not terrible.
No, I don't think it's terrible.
But after everything I just said about wanting to stay down the board and like I'm trying to stick by my guns with that tactic, let it play out across the course of the season, betting guys like Russ at 25 to 1 is kind of against that, you know?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So it's tough. Where are you leaning on Russ overall? Would he be somebody you'd consider getting onto the card?
Hell yeah! When it gets to this time of this style of golf, Russ is always in my potential bets. And the only reason I didn't bet him last year is because he was short, I believe, and he didn't play bad. I think he had like a pretty poor chipping week that week. But Russ should be striping it. Russ should be confident. Russ's caddy was out there early solo prep, which is not too. I don't see too much. We see way more in the majors than we do the regular events, especially at a golf course that these two know so well. Now he's out there solo prepping, walking the grounds by himself. Like that's dog. That's dog. So
I mean, I edited you said that he was out walking the course early, and I added in there something about the majors because you don't see that at the regular practice rounds. Because what I didn't add in there, but popped in my head is what you just said. Like a guy who's won at the golf course, a guy who's played there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times. Like you don't usually see the caddies out walking by themselves on that situation.
Right. So good for that.
Strokes Gained Prep King goes to Russ. Random Euros. I know you've always got your eyes out there for the random Euros of the week. Who from the European side was standing out down there at PGA National? Obviously, like we said on the podcast on Sunday, random Euros have won here before. Sepp Straka was a random Euro in 2022 when he won. Do you see a path for random Euro this week? And if so, anyone you need to add in to the random Euro of the week consideration?
Yeah, I gave him a good report. He's been a staple random Euro of the week, and that is Jesper Svensson. I do think this is a great golf course, and another great battle for low Svensson market. But Jesper actually looked really solid out there. He's a flusher from off the tee. He's a very accurate. He will hit a ton of fairways, and he looked really solid with the iron. So I think this is the best spot for Jesper we've seen so far, and he's been playing okay this season, shooting up the Viking Cup standings week by week, and he knows what it's going to take to make that team. So it's definitely an important week for Jesper.
Yeah, I was on him last week. He had a generational driving performance. He was
Really?
I had both him and Smalley, who both were like miles ahead of the field in driving, which was made following it so annoying because they're in perfect position on every hole. He does stripe. His irons were a little bit off last week, but what interests me we talked about it with Suber, and I see it when I pull up Yesby here is he was T10 at the Sony. Jersey hasn't played great since then. He's made a couple of cuts, but he was T10 at the Sony thanks to plus 6.4 on the greens. Any guy who putted well at Sony and is a generational striper who hasn't been putting well on the West Coast or on the Pass Palom or at these other courses, but they putted well at Waialae, that's a green flag.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And he's got so much to play for. He cannot look himself in the mirror being the second best Jesper Svensson in the world. He has to be the best. And ball knowers will know who the best Jesper Svensson in the world is. So come on, Jesper. I think it could be a big week for you.
If you've ever been clicking around on ESPN on like a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. when it's not like college football season or college basketball, like over the summer, you will know who the other Jesper Svensson is. And if you don't, you'll find out.
Drop a comment if you do.
And one thing if you know the other Jesper Svensson, send us a video of him doing his thing. What I was going to say was, one thing they also don't do is give out Porsche Singapore Classics. You have to earn victories there. Jesper beat Kiradek in that event. So
yeah, that's dog. He's an intimidating guy to go up against. I wouldn't want to play up against Kiradek.
We invented the Viking Cut because of Jesper Spence when we saw him at Valhalla, because he was grinding.
Yeah. So the prep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was generation.
Yeah, I love him. I enjoyed being on him for the first time last week. Like, he played fine. He was kind of in the mix going into the weekend, then he kind of fell off. If you're some random guy I've never bet before from down the board, that's all I'm asking from you. Kind of get in the mix for a little bit. Give me some hope. Make the cut. That's all I can ask for. So let's finish up with the young guns. Cheers, the young guns. That's most. We already talked about one. Subaru would fight. He's in the young guns ish category. But we're talking about the true young guns, the new blood, the Luke Clantons of the world, the Carl Phillips of the world, the Mike Thors of the world. Those styles of players. What did you see from the young guns? Maybe which young gun caught your eye? Were there any new young guns that we haven't discussed before that we might need to keep our eyes on going forward?
I will say that they're in, I don't know how many years it's going to be, but once this young gun regime takes over, the amount of like noise from drivers coming from golf courses, it might like trigger like alarms, because these kids don't do anything but absolutely nuke off the tee. They just send with no regard to where it goes. And obviously the better ones hit it a lot straighter, but the young guns just rip, and they're gonna have to maybe change. If the young guns just take over, PGA National is gonna be won at like -8, because they're just gonna be launching the ball everywhere and like not being able to keep it in play. But these kids just send, and for better or for worse, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So all of them, they're all the same. They just rip it, and it's not really the strategy I'm looking for around PGA National.
Is there a world where Clanton generationally stripes down the middle on every single hole like he did at Sedgefield?
Sedgefield.
Like, could he do that though? Because I know you're saying that the reason, like the bit was that in the future, if every guy's a nuke guy, they're just going to be hitting it off the planet too often, and the scoring will be like -8 winner. However, if he's driving it long and straight down the middle, he could shoot like 2,500, win by like 10 shots. Is there anyone out there who could pull that off? Can Clanton do it?
I mean, if for picking one between like Phillips, Thorbjornsen, Clanton, those types of guys, I don't like, none of them really like were like, yeah, they're striping generationally off the tee. And I would say it if there was one, but I mean, there's a world where they can, because what Clanton did at Sedgefield, I think is like his most impressive performance, like more impressive than gaining 5 strokes ball striking at Pinehurst. Doing it at Sedgefield with that driver with like that long and straight is just insane. So yeah, there's a world, but they didn't seem comfortable with the sight lines. There's a few new tee boxes like that they were talking about that they weren't used to. So I don't think it's going to come from those guys this week, truly.
Couple more quick things to finish on. One, I don't think you didn't see new PGA Tour winner Campbell.
No.
Soups. We're calling him Soups, by the way. Now that's what the people wanted us to make his nickname. So did you see Soups out there?
Not sure he exists, actually. I'm really not sure.
It happened with Dietrich after you didn't see him after he won.
Right.
Did these things really happen?
People are asking.
But what I wanted to say was, I don't think we gave him enough credit on the Sunday pod from a dog perspective. I was thinking about it, and I saw these videos of him and like his fiance or wife watching. Beautiful moments. The man had never won anything at all. No. Like, he hadn't won in so long at any level, as far as I think I'm remembering this properly. When was the last time that he had won something before he won Mexico? I'll let you know here momentarily. I've got to go back in the
Yeah,
history.
I don't think he
His
has
last
either.
win, according to Data Golf, Shadow Data Golf in 2015 was the NCAA Noblesville Regional, which that's a good win at the time.
Yeah,
Hasn't won it.
remember that? I remember tracking that. That was a good
Yeah,
week.
a lot of people were talking about that at the time
Yeah.
about what an impressive win that was from Brian Campbell at the NCAA Noblesville Regional. But he hadn't won anything since then. People were starting to say, is this guy ever going to win it? For him to, for the first time he ever was mixing on the PGA Tour, to actually win, yes, he
Yeah,
needed a
that's nuts.
miracle bounce off the tree, but like the other guys ended up having to chase him at the end. He was the most steady guy through
Yeah.
most of Sunday. The shank into the trees off the tee was the only like shocking moment that he had done. So much dog. His dog to talent ratio, maybe Davis Riley level. I don't think we gave him enough
Right.
credit.
Right. And honestly, like the dude that really was, everyone was saying, oh, he got so lucky on that bounce. Yeah, he got lucky on that one swing. Dude, Potts got lucky for 4 straight days.
Yeah, he
He
did.
was lucky on these chip ins and just making 30-foot par putts. Like the dude got lucky on one swing. I get it. Yeah, he did get lucky, but he was steadying the ship the whole time. We still don't know if he exists because I didn't see him out there. Haven't never seen him in person. But yeah, shout out Soups. If I see him out there, I might have to have him sign something. Truly.
Yeah, talk to him. See if he wants to come on the pod. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Get him on the pod. Talk about his
I'll
journey.
try.
That'd be elite.
That would be sick. Actually.
But yeah, I wanted to make sure that we gave him his proper due because it was unbelievable dog. And I agree on Aldi Potts. He had multiple balls, I think on Saturday. There were like an inch from the out of bounds line that easily could have been unplayable or like lost ball. So I agree with you. It was extraordinarily lucky in the moment. On just that shot alone, it might be the luckiest thing I've actually ever seen. But over the course of the tournament, strokes gained dogs from Soups, and excited to see if he's able to continue it on because the Florida swing should make sense for the style of play he has. The last thing I wanted to finish on, Jers, you're headed over to TGL after this. Some are saying you're the face of TGL. That's what people are saying to me based on some of the questions. You know, they're sharing you on social media. You're asking great questions. You're getting Patrick Cantlay, a long time. We said a couple episodes ago he might be our favorite player on the PGA Tour. You got him to laugh. No one's ever seen that before. But one of the players that you've been seeing at TGL, Cam Young, CY, a guy we said we weren't going to talk about on the podcast this year, a guy that you said you are not betting no matter what this year. You talked to him today. You had a moment of coming together with CY. I've asked you forever about your State of the Union on CY. What happened? What is the State of the Union? How do you feel about him maybe this week and going forward in TGL as well?
Yeah, if you're a longtime listener, you know how long I've been a CY defender, a CY truther. Then come the new year, I had my coming to earth. I was out on CY. I still think I'm out on CY, but I think I'm going to be nicer because across the TGL like events, he's been notorious for. I haven't been watching on ESPN because I've been in there. Apparently, he's been saying nothing on the camera when they're asking him. He's been super quiet in that media room when I'm asking him questions. He's giving me decent answers and giving me like insightful responses. And so I'm there. I'm a pretty recognizable person. I kind of look like a crazy person. So he sees me out on the golf course today, and he comes up to me and asks me how I'm doing. Like, good to see you. So CY, handshake. I'm sorry for the mean things I've said. No, there's nothing crazy, nothing egregious.
No.
But CY, I'll no longer be mean to you, and I'm out on you for this week. I don't think you're gonna play well. I'm out on you, but I'm not gonna be nice to you.
A couple things that you should get him on the pod as well. Build a rapport with him in the interview room if you ask him good questions. But it might be generational because we have important questions to ask him, such as, did he know he needed to birdie the first hole at Castle Pines all 4 days, or else he was going to the blacklist? Like, did that add extra pressure to him that maybe affected his game? Like, we have questions that we could ask, that we could find out. We could ask him, is he tired of golf? Does he legitimately not like it? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's been waiting for somebody to give him the platform to say that like he's out.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll see what I could do.
It's something to consider. So you're headed over to TGL. Is it true you're going to a VIP event with my hometown Bay Golf Club? The rumor has it that that's something else that's happening.
Like, I can't believe this is my life. Got the invitation, going to the Bay pregame party, the VIP. So I don't know what it's going to entail. I don't know if there's going to be drinks flowing. I don't know what to expect, but I had to record the pod a little earlier so I can get over there and hopefully get in with the debate team. Talk to him about Timmy Veets, see why he didn't get the nod.
Yeah, and I will say, you have been all in TGL. You've done an unbelievable job at TGL. I haven't been watching much at all. I'm going to be frank. I Now that it's getting close to the playoffs, I need to get eyes on it. And knowing that you're going to the VIP event tonight, I need to get eyes because you send me all this stuff that you're seeing and the great question, all that, but I don't have the context of seeing it live. I just haven't had time to watch. I'm committing myself to giving TGL a shot, probably starting tonight. What's at stake tonight? Give the spiel. What are they playing for?
Well, this is going to be the last time you're going to watch till Monday, but Monday is going to be appointment television. LA versus the Bay. They're the two best teams by far. The rosters are like Ludwig, Minwoo, Wyndham versus Thigala, Colin.
What about Atlanta? My Drive. They're not.
Well, the Drive are good too, but I think LA and the Bay are the two teams to beat. Atlanta's got the dog for sure, but that's Monday 3 p.m. So that's what I really look forward to. Monday 3 p.m.
I will say I haven't been watching, but mainly I have been following from a distance the Drive. I came out as a Drive supporter before the season, famously. I mean, how can I not support a team?
We're a Drive podcast.
Yeah, that has Pat, Billy Ho, Glove, and I said I don't really like JT, but I'm gonna accept him into the team. At least he's one
best TGL player, low-key.
Yeah, and yeah, perfect for TGL. Have they lost? What's their record?
I think they have one loss, I believe. I'm not really sure, but they're good. They're good.
And so the playoffs are going to be 4 teams. How's that going to work?
Yeah, 4 teams. The bottom 2 don't make it. Rory got eliminated yesterday. The fact that they haven't won is kind of crazy. Like Rory, Keegan, and Decky feel like they should have won a match, but they didn't. They kind of had egregiously horrible hammer usage and hammer acceptance that cost them a few times. But yeah. So the New York or Boston is out. I think the Jupiter Lynx need to win today to remain in the picture. Yeah, they do need to win today.
He's not playing.
And Tiger's out. So it's Kisner, Homa, and TK versus the Bay without Ludwig. So they have their backs against the wall. People are calling the Bay today, a generational wealth spot today. I saw it on Twitter a few times. Not so sure. Anything can happen in TGL.
Because Lud's not playing, right?
Lud's not playing.
He's the cornerstone of the franchise. You wouldn't.
He was built on a simulator. I need to talk to you so much because one of the guys who's director of like the player comms lives in Sweden and he flies here for like these 3 months. And I talked to him about the Viking Cup. I told him like what we were. He was like, yeah, like it makes so much sense that Ludwig's playing well here. Like he grew up on a simulator. I'm like, fuck, it makes so much sense. So yeah, Ludwig's gonna be out tonight.
The Vikings need their own team, is what it sounds like, and they would absolutely crush. Imagine the heavy ball of Chris Ventura on the sim.
Right, it could break the screen.
Or like
the Vikings need a screen. The Vikings need a team, and the Young Guns need a team. Those two need a team.
Well, get in the ear, TJ. We've got ideas. We could, when it comes to thinking of vibes, we've got lots of ideas. So great that you're doing that. I'll get some more eyes on it soon. Jers, it's been real. Good luck this week. Everything will be up on the site probably mid to late afternoon tomorrow. Final boots report, final thoughts, all that good stuff. DP up soon as well. And then the LPGA, benserix.com. We'll see you over there and in the Discord. Cheers, everyone.
Enjoy the week.